I will be presenting today talent performance management. My name is Leszek Seifert. I have been with Tieto for the last 4 years, working mainly with talent performance management and data management. I'll be also taking care of the new Beacon product. If you have any questions after the meeting, please don't hesitate to ask, and there will be a code at the end of the meeting where you can actually go to and ask right away the question. Safe harbor statement as usual. And maybe before I go through the agenda, a few words about my approach. So there are two presentations, one detailed, touching upon all the major updates with screenshots and all the necessary information. I hope it will be useful for you, especially when you implement changes and prepare the training materials. And the second one, the one I'm using today, it's a lighter version, so that we can focus on the major aspects and of course demonstrate in our test environment as much as possible. I also of course encourage you to use Workday community and that's and also the what's new report with really all the necessary details. So what's new today? The presentation will cover the main four main subjects. First, I will go through the talent optimization reorganization. Then I will demonstrate the newest updates to skills. I think this is very relevant, especially to those who either have the Skills Cloud on or are planning in the near future to put it on. I will also touch upon changes in the Career Hub and Talent Marketplace functional areas. And eventually I will talk about the feedback updates. There are a couple of very interesting ones. If we have still time, I might go through some miscellaneous, for some people maybe not very miscellaneous changes. So first thing first, talent optimization organization. Called reorganization. So this update already happened just after the previous release, but I thought that it would be good to start it with right now. So basically what happened is that Workday moved and renamed some of the functional areas. They moved it to talent optimization and HCM solution. So basically the idea is to make it easier for you to identify and configure the functionality. So maybe for those who are not so familiar with the Workday terminology, solution is a kind of collection of functional areas, for example, HCM, talent, and now optimization, core financials. Then each functional area within a solution is a collection of BPs, business processes, and domains. Solution, functional area, domains, and business processes. So now we have some changes in the names. We get the talent inside apps instead of inside apps, performance enablement, talent pipeline, worker profile and skills, the Career Hub and Talent Marketplace. They basically haven't changed. Also with the previous release, Workday also duplicated domains and business processes. So to make them kind of available both again, at talent optimization and HCM. So what I would kind of want you to remember, what is very important is that if they're both enabled, or if either is enabled, and kind of the domains or pieces are not kind of specifically modified, all the domains will be enabled. So there's really no need to kind of do any setup kind of changes here. But of course, please pay attention to the new announcements of Workday, and it's always good to have the kind of a good overview of the security. Skills. So firstly, also maybe for those people who are not so familiar, what kind of skills we have in Workday, we have the maintenance skills. So those are basically maintained by administrators. This is a library or libraries of recognized skills. Basically, the users can search and add to their profile. Then, if candidates or workers cannot find the skills, then we have the crowdsourced skills, so that they can actually create their own ones. And finally, the ones that we really need to pay attention to are the skills cloud skills based on machine learning. So they are owned by Workday. It's currently a very critical functionality that is basically being constantly updated and is already required for a number of features. Workday now brings basically brought it some time ago, skill verification. This offers the ability to show the users context and of basically how an employee has earned a skill. So job history, learning courses, certifications, feedback, etc. And now with the previous release, Workday also introduces skill level, ratings, and endorsements. So sort of a metric-oriented skill reporting where you can rate and or basically endorse skills for skills for workers. What is also important to remember is that with this functionality now, this functionality can be used only via the requested feedback. This probably will develop in future. So maybe let's take a look how it works in the system. Firstly, I will show some configuration, and then I will demonstrate how the process actually of giving the skills ratings works. So what you need to do initially to configure it, you go to maintain skills and experience task. You need to enable your skills cloud, and you also need to make sure that you have the populate suggested skills of workers enabled. If you don't want to use the Workday provided standard skill levels, you can also change it in the maintain skill level setup. I have already done it in advance. So for example, if you want to kind of give a rating of a skill that is by Workday Standards Expert, it's know-it-all. Of course, you can change it here. Please also mark here the skills ratings in feedback. So what else? Because you can do it only via feedback, you need to configure a feedback template. I have already done it. Skill rating. Here you choose the type. You can also use the one for the review, and you basically enable it for feedback. Now I will demonstrate you how it basically looks in the process. So let's, for example, go to log in as Adam Carlton. And let's ask for or request the feedback from the manager. So let's maybe ask Logan. I choose the template that is configured for the rating, skill rating. I choose the skill that I want to be rated. Let's say patient-centered communication. So this is one of the skills that is suggested, has been suggested and chosen by me. I submit it. Now we go to Logan McNeil. She will just go to her inbox. where you can find a task to rate the skill patient-centered communication. As you can see, the labels have already also been adjusted. Let's say that Adam knows it all. You can, of course, comment and decline this in this functionality. Let's submit it. So now the change already happened in Adam's profile. You can see it under career and skills. So as you can see, this is patient-centered communication. You can check on the source for the rating is a skill, is the feedback. You can jump here. This has been given by Logan McNeil, her position and rating. Also, another kind of a report that you can use for it is feedback, basically for skills. So if I go to Adam Carlton, I can see all the ratings that were given via the feedback. So here, for example, is the patient-centered communication before he received a rating about the Medicare, also from Logan McNeil. Yeah, so let's take a look what else we have here. Skills synonym management. So until now, you could only basically replace the skills that were the exact matches. Now you will be able to replace the skills that with the actually synonymous SkillScout skill. I think it's a very welcome step and very useful, and will basically in kind of increase the lack of need for maintenance. So let's see how it looks in the system. So basically what you need to do for this functionality is also to go to maintain skills and experience setup, where you need to, of course, enable Skills Cloud, but you also need to convert the duplicate skills, cloud skills, and also convert synonym skills to skills. I haven't enabled it yet, but that's basically the way to do that. In case you want to make an exception, you go to maintain skills, report, and you can choose basically the maintain skill and mark it as a kind of exempted from this mechanism of kind of converting the skills from synonyms. So let's say I mark it here. And I can say this one is actually excluded. So when the mechanism actually switches on, then this skill will be exempted from the conversion. Suggested skills for job profile. So basically what it does, it enables you to quickly identify any potential relevant cloud skills, but based on basically the content of the job profile. So in other words, whatever you have in the job profile, this will kind of bring the suggestions. Let's see in the system. So you also kind of need to go through maintenance skills and experience to enable it. You need to have them populate suggested skills for workers on. There's a very good report that you could use. It's called suggested skills for job profile. So you basically choose the job profile, let's say HR manager. And you can find very detailed information on the skills that are suggested from the talent profile. The same thing you can do also from the job profile itself. Basically, you go to the HR manager, scroll down to reports and suggested skills for job profile. This is actually a great news for many that have been waiting for this. Now eventually the translations are available for the Danish, Finnish, Norwegian, and Swedish. Especially the Finnish is a great news. So hopefully this will kind of encourage you to actually switch on the Skills Cloud. One caveat though, when I was reviewing the Workday community posts, I found announcement that during the testing there have been some issues with those translations. So if you base your decision about going into the Skills Cloud on availability of the translations, I really encourage you to confirm with Workday that all the issues are resolved. Career Hub. So maybe a couple of words about those functionalities. Career Hub and Talent Marketplace. So the idea behind the Career Hub is that is a kind of career development platform. So it is basically designed from the point of view of the employee. So you can discover your career opportunities, plan basically the next career steps, and to look for the relevant skills, and of course also internal jobs. Talent Marketplace, on the other hand, is more about kind of market functionality, to find candidates for the right opportunities, basically to optimize the talent resources. One of the major kind of functionalities of the Talent Marketplace is or are gigs. Those are short-term assignments, quite similar to projects. So what Workday now changed? Well, I call it a user interface merge. So basically, you can now directly access many Talent Marketplace features from Career Hub. I will maybe demonstrate how it looks in the system. So if we go to Career Hub, many things that are kind of were created for the Talent Marketplace are now part here and available from here. For example, My Gigs. What is interesting, if you now put Opportunity Marketplace, which is a kind of part of the Talent Marketplace, this directly nowadays kind of takes you to Career Hub. Basically, you can access all the functionalities now from Career Hub. So, okay. Another thing, you can also get a prompt on requested feedback that kind of gives you all the kind of people from your gigs, so you can basically find your colleagues or employees that kind of work with you on the gig, and you can, for example, rate their skills or endorse them as well. Let's not go to the system for this. Share gigs. This is interesting. For example, if I go nowadays to gigs report, and I would like to share the gig, there is a functionality share gigs. What it exactly does, it basically it copies the URL. So it's a bit confusing name. It copies the URL to the clipboard, and then you can share basically this with your colleague, and this link will directly take you to the given gig. So let's take a look how it works. Let's say I go as Befi Liu. Oh, sorry. I will first maybe share the gig. So I share the gig. It automatically copies into the clipboard. And if I now, for example, log in as Beth, and I will input this into the browser. That should automatically take me to the gig that I'm waiting for. Feedback. So with previous release, we had some pretty huge enhancements on feedback. Before there were like the quantifiable feedback. So this autumn, for example, we received also the report for this. So basically, this is a follow-up. There's no need to go in the system. Please just go to the search and find this one. What is also kind of pretty useful, the rename in use feedback template. So basically, when you are using it, this gives you kind of this extra flexibility. You don't need to create or copy the template. You can basically just do it while you are while the feedback template is being in use. So let's proxy as Logan McNeil, for example, our talent administrator. So if I configure feedback template, let's say the one that we already used, skill rating. Even though it is being used, I can nowadays actually change the name. Another kind of interesting feature is the rules-based defaulting of feedback template. Basically, what it means, you can create condition rules for feedback to select which group receives which template. So in order to do this, you first need to go to maintain feedback setup, choose which feedback feedback is required, and then you can create a condition rule based on certain basically any kind of assumptions. I created, for example, one here for the five management levels. So if you are one of those, you will receive certain template. So this is one thing. The other thing is also if you select the required feedback on template, then when an employee receives it, receives a template, he or she cannot put any kind of own input. The template is compulsory. So let's go, for example, cancel it. If I go now as Adam Carton, and I want to get feedback for myself, because I marked it, let's say from Logan, because I marked this as a required, I need to use a template. If I don't use a template, if I want to add my own words, please, for example, evaluate my skill. This will, of course, give me an error. The other one that is based on the condition rules, the other feature I will demonstrate with Beth. So Beth is a director. So since she's director and she is kind of part of the condition rule I have created, if she wants to get feedback on self, she not only has the feedback required, but she has the feedback required that is kind of created by me based on the condition rule. So this is, for example, senior management. Already looked at this. Now Peakon. For those who are not familiar, this is an employee engagement services platform that Workday acquired last year. So how they kind of portray themselves? They say that they are this continuous learning platform. So that they bring this kind of real-time visibility of the employee experience. Why I really like it? Because it kind of looks at the engagement as a whole. It kind of from the drivers through engagement, different forms like feelings, cognitive aspects, behaviors, and finally how it actually affects the company. So with this release, the Workday order kind of brings the Peakon employee voice domain, and based on this, when you configure this domain, you can also create a worklet that will directly take you to the surveys to view the survey results, to analyze the results of previous surveys, etc. So let's see maybe how it works in practice. If we now take a look at the applications, we have the Peakon employee voice worklet. We basically just go through this into the Peakon employee voice own platform. Some miscellaneous changes. This one is pretty, I think, also important. So it's a long-awaited one, and I think very kind of obvious functionality. So now the status, eventually status range for development items is the same as for goals. So we have all the four status possibilities, including the not started. There has been a long discussion in Workday on this, that there should be the one. Especially if, for example, a manager or employee wants to set a new development objective for the coming year. So that could be a very useful functionality. What do you basically need to do? You just go to the, let's go back to our system. Maintain development item statuses, and on the top of those three that have been available before, you have now not started. Of course, you can change the name the way you wish. Those just are being mapped for Workday. Guided experience. So eventually we have new sections that are being supported by the guided experience, so that we are really moving towards the guided experience as the major kind of user interface for employee reviews. So now we have again accomplishments and feedback on the top of the previously added ones, and so we're missing basically career and responsibilities. Also, what is important now, it is a default editor option, both in terms of when you go into the template to configure it, and of course in terms as well how much kind of time Workday spends into kind of improving the functionality. We also get an option now to hide section ratings and weights. So if you decide that do not show certain information and to keep it more clean kind of, it gives you now this opportunity. Similarly, and logically, of course, you have the same things with the section weights. This one maybe has been awaited by some of our customers. So basically, you can now track the so-called reduction theme goals in Workday. So let's say customer weight is 20 minutes. You want to reduce it to 10 minutes, and you want to register as a goal. Now with the kind of goal negative values, you have a possibility. So basically, you can now track it as values, but also logically with this comes kind of the possibility for a payout bounce for goals with this negative slope. For those who are not maybe familiar how to explain this, in other words, it's like kind of where minimum payout percent is less, the maximum is less than the minimum. Important information, you can calculate payout bounds for goals with negative slope when you use either single slope or dual slope calculation. So that would be it for now. You are very welcome to send me any questions. I'll be more than happy to answer.